Welcome everybody. It's Thursday, it's 4:45. Must be happy hour. I'm your host Jesse Miller here at Midtown Video. We're so glad you came to join us. Today's show is going to be excellent. We're going to talk about Fujinon's 4K 8000 lumens projector, and we're going to give you an NAB wrap-up from the Jesse perspective. Talk about not just some of the cool things that happened, but the #1 trend at NAB this year. Stick around to the end. You don't want to miss the #1 trend. But it is happy hour. You might have noticed there are a couple of new items on my set. In the back there, we got St. Javelin. That's an organization out of Canada supporting our buddies in Ukraine. That is the Ukrainian flag with the Saint holding a Javelin anti-tank missile, supporting our buddies out there. We've got this here, special light up broad field distributing. I guess it's a tumbler. This is perfect for happy hour. I hope you guys all brought your favorite adult beverage. Mine is water this week. Wink, wink. That's great. Really helps the 4K go down smooth. And the biggest new piece on my set today is this here Fujinon FP-Z8000 4K projector. That 4K projector is 8000 lumens, 3840 by 2160 resolution. You can bring that 4K into it over HD-based T directly with LAN. You can bring that 4K into it with HDMI, with DisplayPort. It even has an SDI input. Something very cool, check out the reverse angle here. Something very cool about the HD-based T input is that it's separate from the LAN input, which makes it very easy to use Crestron, Extron, or computers to send like control on-off commands through the LAN port while still sending it video over the HD-based T port. Anyway, most of the things that I want to say about this projector, we put together in a little field piece that I would like to play for you now. Welcome everybody. I'm Jesse with Midtown Video. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Fujifilm's 4K 8000 lumens projector known as the FP-Z8000. This portable projector is extremely short throw with a lens ratio of 0.38:1. What it boils down to is 4K video at extremely large width from extremely small distances. At just about 30 pounds, this 8000 lumens projector is pretty portable. As a 4K projector, you need a method to get 3840 by 2160 resolution in. This projector has 2 HDMI inputs, a DisplayPort input, and an RJ45 HD-based T input. Pretty solid. If you need 4K, DisplayPort, HDMI, HDBT. If you're only going 1080, you can use the locking connector on 3G SDI. The coolest part about all these different inputs is that right on the remote control, you have a separate button for each one of these inputs, so you don't have to go scrolling through each one to find the one you need. Something else that sets this projector apart from any other ultra short throw is the built-in folded 2-axial rotatable lens. With this crazy lens that rotates on an arm up 90 degrees and rotates around that arm 360 degrees, the FP-Z8000 can achieve projections other ultra short throws cannot. In the right lens setting, you can totally eliminate the vertical offset that other ultra short throw snorkel lenses require. Some of them have a minimum of 28-inch vertical offset, whereas the Fujinon FP-Z8000 can be directly in line with the top or the bottom of its projection. Traditionally, ultra short throw projectors have been difficult to create either edge blending or warping for projection mapping. Fujifilm has really focused on those aspects of this projector. It's very easy to create edge blending, and there are 81 different geometry points that you can move individually in order to create the warping you need. Imagine a curved room doing a projection simulation with an ultra short throw projector that from 28 inches back can give you a 100-inch diagonal screen. 8000 lumens, 4K resolution. This projector blows me away. Let's go see what it can do. Here we are inside in front of Midtown Video's famous 16-foot wide screen. Our projector is situated a mere 5.9 feet away, under 6 feet to go 16 feet wide. Now you might notice the top of my screen is blank. That's because we've booted up in the home position of the lens. But
using some of its 75% vertical lens shift capability. In a matter of moments, we'll be right at the top of this screen. Something really important is on screen as you're doing the lens shift, the projector reports how much percentage of the lens shift you've used. So here we are at the top, and it's 51% of the lens shift. So we've got a buffer of another 20–25% if we needed more vertical in the up direction. Or we could go back to zero and another 75%. The last thing I want to share about the lens characteristics is focus. There are two separate focuses for this projection. On the inside, you've got focus that you're used to for the main image, and then around the edge, a separate focus control. This really helps with keystoning, edge blending, projector warping, all the kinds of fun things you can do when you get into projector mapping and multiple projectors. To help visualize how the projection will look in your facility, Fujifilm has put a projector simulator online in 3D. You can change what position the lens will be in, move the projector back and forth from the screen, and see what the result would be in the size of the projection. Sam and I spent all day calculating our own projections. Let's take this thing outside and see how good it looks. Everyone knows the true test of a projector is outside on a dimly lit street in Miami, just before it's going to rain with only minutes to set up. Does the FP-Z8000 deliver? This projector definitely has something for everyone. For the resolution hogs, we've got that 3840 by 2160. For the traditionalists, locking connectors on 3G BNC SDI. For the portable guys, it's under 30 pounds and you can set it up in so many different ways. For the fixed installation guys, this comes pre-approved by Crestron, Extron, AMX with modules, and you can control it right through the RJ45 HDBT port. If you need one of those mid-range 8,000 lumens projectors that can blow people away, if you need to get very close to your screen and still go extremely wide, if you need to blend 2 or more projectors or warp them with 81 geometry points for projector blending, Fujifilm has the solution for you, and it's this FP-Z8000. Call your friends at Midtown Video to get one in your hands.
There you have it. We're blown away by this. I think this is a really cool projector. It's, none of that was Hollywood magic. It's for real. You can 2-axial folding lens gets you those crazy angles. Get it right close up to your, if you need a 10-foot wide projection, but you don't have a lot of room in the ceiling, you could stick it on the floor 3 feet back and wham, impress everybody that comes to your facility. We're really into it. If you'd like more information, if you'd like a demonstration, you let us know. Midtown Video specializes in hands-on demonstrations, and we also specialize in custom projection integration. Fujinon FP-Z8000. For more information on that projector, you let us know. We'll hook you up. This is a good time to transition. This sort of sets apart the old segment number 1 projector from segment number 2. The NAB wrap, and it's also a good time to grab a little bit of a drink. Remind ourselves, this is happy hour, man. This is happy hour with Midtown Video. Broadfield Distributing Light Up Happy Hour Cup. Thank you, Dan Batan. So NAB was in Vegas, as usual. It was weird coming back to Vegas in the convention center after COVID. It sort of made it so that the people that braved the flights, hotels, and crowded convention center really had a purpose to be there. They weren't just winging it. They weren't just thinking that they would go check it out. These guys were serious. They were all on a mission. And that made a really cool atmosphere at NAB for education, for research, for getting deals done. And I'd like to share with you guys some of my favorite parts of NAB. And to begin with, this first video with our buddy Louis from Tredes, Luis Miguel, was gracious enough to give us an interview. So I'm a philosopher. And as a philosopher, to attend a convention like NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, you might say to yourself, what is broadcast? Is it reaching the most people at once? Is it streaming like we're doing right now, broadcasting on the internet? No, traditionally broadcast was terrestrial broadcast. And so this company, Tredes, out of España, manufactures transceivers, encoders, transcoders for UHF. And I bumped into Luis Miguel, and he was explaining to me the difference between ATSC 3.0 and ATSC 1.0 and what was special about his ATSC 3.0 receivers. And he used so many acronyms at once that I said, hold on, buddy, we're going to have to stop. I'm going to have to get out my phone and record you because you're going to be on my show with all those acronyms. So let me roll the clip, and then I'll give you the Jesse Miller translation. So, Alex.
We're here with Luis Miguel of Treres. We're talking about taking signals over the air and repeating them. Tell me what ATSC3 can do that ATSC1 cannot.
Okay. ATSC 3.0 is a standard that is based on an OFDM modulation, same as DVB-T2 in Europe. And what basically this allows is to operate what is called an on-channel repeater that is taking a signal from the air, an RF signal in F1, for example, and processing it and transmitting it in F1.
So you can make an SFN.
You can make an SFN using the same frequency at the input and at the output, and that's the easiest way to extend the coverage of a DTT network. Okay, so you don't need to run fiber optics or microwave link or satellite links to the station. Receive RF, transmit RF, F1, SFN, and that's what we basically are specialized on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love that. I loved all those acronyms. I can't get enough of it. But it was also something really interesting. Imagine a mountainside. Okay, maybe we're in, Barcelona. Maybe we're in North Carolina. And you've got one side of the mountain, valley number 1, and the other side of the mountain, valley number 2. And you want, CBS to be channel 13 on this side, and you want it to be 13 on that side. Well, with ATSC 1.0, you'd either have to run fiber optic cable from the first broadcast station to the substation on the other side of the mountain, or you'd have to beam up to a satellite and back down to a satellite. But we've got all these UHF wireless broadcast towers already in place, terrestrial broadcast. So if CBS is broadcasting on this terrestrial antenna to this valley, and it gets sort of stopped by the mountain, puts a repeater tower up at the top of the mountain, to reach the other side, valley number 2, you'd have to broadcast on 13.1 over here, and then 13.2 over here, ATSC 1.0. But ATSC 3.0 allows the UHF transceiver at the top of the mountain to receive the over-the-air broadcast on channel 13.1 and then rebroadcast it on 13.1 again, so that everybody in the entire geographic area knows to tune to 13.1 to get CBS. That's what SFN is, single frequency network. When he said F1, F1, rather than having F1, frequency 1 being 13.1, and F2 being 13.2, now everybody knows that this one channel is the same network on either side of the mountain. That just blew me away. It was the perfect educational moment for me at the National Association of Broadcasters. That happened in the brand new West Convention Hall. So the rest of the stuff, the video stuff, the non-broadcast, the non-UHF terrestrial antenna stuff happened in North and Central halls. So how did you get from the brand new West Hall to the North and Central halls? Well, that brings me to another video. Hit me up, Alex. Yeah, here we are. This is the loop, okay? It's not quite a hyperloop yet, but it is a bunch of Teslas driving through tunnels that were dug by the Boring Corporation. So it's got Elon Musk's signature all over it. And I just thought that it was so cool. Right now, it's actually human drivers, but they have 2 sets of advancement plans. The next set is going to be automated cars, automated driving, right? And then the third expansion is going to be the third expansion is going to be actual Hyperloop, where you get into a pod to get transported from west to Central or North halls, where the rest of the action was. Well, that's enough of this video. All right. So we went from the West Hall, jumped in the loop, got driven by a Tesla down to the Central Hall, where I bumped into a very close friend of Midtown Videos and a personal friend of mine, Mr. Eamon Drew from Bird Dog. There he is. He won a big award for a really cool new product. Check this out.
Here with one of our favorites, Eamon of Bird Dog. We've got a video maker best in show for their brand new 5-inch and 7-inch NDI camera top monitors. And what do they do?
Yeah, so they encode, decode, they monitor, they record. and they stream. So they do all flavors of NDI, so full NDI, NDI HX2, HX3, SRT, RTMP, RTSP, and Cloud Connect. So you can directly connect to them using Bird Dog Cloud from anywhere in the world.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love, obviously, acronyms, and he nailed all the acronyms. And then I love how NDI HX3 is in there, and NDI HX2. Obviously, NDI HX3 makes HX2 look like HX1. And congratulations to our buddy, Eamon Drew, and the entire staff over at Bird Dog. They have been releasing really cool products that we've been fans of for years. So this 5-inch camera top monitor won a Best in Show award. And if you've been looking for a camera top monitor and something that will encode or decode NDI, I mean, that's the thing. That is the thing. It's got tally on it. It's moving video production off of standard baseband and into the network, which is, you know, that's obviously one of the next steps. So congratulations to Bird Dog. Love to get my hands on one of those 5-inch monitors. But that also brings us to our next point. NDI, obviously a big deal. So I want to take you now to the Canon booth, where our buddies at Canon have released the Canon, I know there's a 500 in there. It's a CX, dang. There's a 500 in this camera, trust me. And what's special about this camera is it does 3G SDI, it does HDMI, but also it's full-fledged NDI. And if you look closely, you'll notice many cameras have a 3.5 millimeter input for audio, but this camera's got dual XLR input. So this PTZ robotic camera, which does full NDI, it certainly does NDI HX, might even do full NDI. It's got the 3.5 SDI, excuse me, it's got the 3G SDI, it's got the HDMI, but now it's got these professional audio inputs. So you could really do a single camera stream really easily. What do I mean by that? Well, you can take a 2-channel XLR mix off of your audio board right into that dual XLR input on the camera. Then, from the web page of the camera, you can stream RTMP, maybe even SRT. So you've got your full audio production plugged into this camera. You've got the robotic camera. Obviously, it looks great. It's going to be your Canon 1-inch super duper sensor. I forget the Digic sensor. Yeah, kind of stuff that you might see in a Canon let's see, C100 with dual pixel autofocus. All the cool tools that you've seen in their Cinema EOS line built into this camera, including the XLR inputs. But because it's on the network, it's got NDI, so it can stream to your TriCaster. Or if you're doing a 1-camera production, you can stream direct to the internet, RTMP, SRT. This really caught my eye. There's also an outdoor version of this camera, an IP65 rated version. If I got any of that wrong, David Barrett Canon will call up and correct me, and I would appreciate it. Huh. Ray Fleischman wants me to pump up the volume. Alex, what can we do about that? Yeah, give me that master. Put it up to, yeah. All right, we're at 8 dB now, Ray. Thank you for letting us know. If you guys have any questions, feel free to use the chat room to let us hear about it. Okay, before we leave the Canon scenario, I want to show you a little back end of that Canon camera because they did something very cool. They did something very cool in the camera software for automation, for robotics and automation. Let me see that ME there, Alex. Yeah, excellent. Check this out. This is the back end. This is the software interface. You dial up the camera's IP address, and this is what you get. Check it out. We are on the trace. So there's camera preset, camera control, and trace tabs in the top right. We are in the trace function here, and what that means is, sure, other cameras let you store a preset 1 and a preset 2, but what this camera does is it allows you to record pans. It allows you to record tilts and zooms. So you start recording a trace, right? Record it, and then just like you would recall a preset, you can actually recall a slow pan. So imagine you're doing a house of worship service and there's a chorus off on the front of the stage. Well, you can record a zoom into the chorus, slowly pan across them as they're singing, and then stop as you've gotten past them. And now, just like a director might say, hey, camera 2, get ready for a pan. Camera 2, go, you're on your pan, camera 2, you're live. Okay, pan, 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 pan. All right, camera 3, stand by for the end of this pan. Boom, and then you're off of camera 2. Well, now instead of having to whisper in the intercom to a camera operator, you can pre-record that trace in the Canon, I'm going to say CXN500. I think that's badass. All right, that's enough about Canon. Let's talk about Densitron. Densitron has been operating out of Europe for quite some time and are starting to make their entry into the United States market. What does Densitron do? They do control. So traditionally, they're controlling sort of broadcast environments. They integrate with all kinds of, anything with an API, Densitron can send API commands to it. But what they specialize in are monitors and control buttons. So check this out. This is a, 1, 2, 3, let's call it a 32 button control panel. But what you might not notice is that each one of the sources, look on the right side, each one of those buttons is a video source. So what you're looking at is the preview. Imagine you're controlling an AJA 32 by 32 router, but rather than just pressing source 36 or source 28 or source 26, you're getting a video preview of what is on that source. And they've done some very cool things. If you look at the middle section, you'll notice that they've turned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3. They've turned 15 of the buttons, those blue ones in the middle, into a video wall of multiple panels. So you press any one of those buttons and you're going to recall the main source. See, all the other thumbnails, each one of those is an individual source. So that's on the far right side. But in the center, they've got a video wall of thumbnail buttons. That's just one example of what Densitron can kind of do. Check out this next frame, which shows you what Densitron specializes in. Each one of these things are monitors. All right, on the top, they've got a clock. On the center, they've got a, I don't know, clock or scope. And then sort of throughout the rest of the video wall here, they're showing you previews of independent sources. So you're running your MCR, you're running your control room. This is a great way to visualize what's going on, recall different presets of router settings, clocks, etc. Is this a video? Let's see. Nope. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. Because if you, as you might have heard, I love Densitron because they make monitors, they make touch panels. One thing I don't like about touch panels is trying to change the volume on a touch panel. I want to make a precise entry, but sliding my finger on an iPad never leaves me with the precision that I want. If I want 78%, I don't want 76, and I don't want 80. So Densitron is incorporating these tactile wheels, knobs, into their touch panels. So on the left side of the screen, you see a couple of touch panel virtual buttons that allow you to switch what these knobs control. And on the right side of the screen, obviously, you see the knobs themselves. This is a brilliant innovation, adding the precision of a knob to the sort of customization and virtualization of a touch screen. So check out Densitron. This is another organization you can get exposure to through Midtown Video. We are integrating broadcast and AV control systems thanks to Densitron's line of control processors, touch panels, and now their integrated volume control knobs. I mentioned NAB is a great place for education, and so check out this little shot. I happened upon my friend Amy DeLuise, who was giving her own little seminar in the education space at the NAB post-production world on producing hybrid events. That sounds suspiciously like Jesse Miller's seminar at Infocom coming up about incorporating remote guests into your live streams. If you find yourself in Las Vegas on June 10th or June 9th, and you get up very early in the morning, just in time for the 8:30 seminar, make sure you register ahead of time. Come on over, we'll have a great time. It's 2 hours on how to bring remote guests into your live streams. We'll talk about audio, we'll talk about video, we'll talk about Zoom, and SRT and other ways of reliably incorporating guests who are geographically distant into your production. This is just a shameless plug for my upcoming seminar, which brings me to another transitional video. Let's go full screen here. Of the loop. I couldn't get enough of this loop. Every time I wanted to go from one convention hall to the next convention hall, I would jump into one of Elon Musk's Teslas, which drives through that tunnel, which was dug by the boring company's drills, you know, in preparation for a Hyperloop. Soon there's going to be, you know, pods. You slip into a pod and you get from the convention center to the strip to the airport. But as of right now, they're just manned by humans driving Teslas. All right, NAB. it's not just video, right? It's audio too. Check this out. Our friends at Sennheiser have released a new line of in-ear monitors that are so inexpensive. I think it's like $5.99 a channel. So some other cool stuff we saw at the Sennheiser booth. We saw an example of Dolby Atmos. You know, it's like 9.1. So there's 4 or 5 audio monitors up here, 4 audio monitors down here, the front, the left, the center. So up there, down here, and then of course the 0.2 means 2 separate subwoofer channels. That was a really cool demonstration. That was about all I wanted to share about audio. Between the in-ear monitoring and the Dolby Atmos demos, I was blown away. This one brings me pause. I was in NAB, I was in Vegas. My wife said, let's go see Lady Gaga's jazz presentation. I said, whatever you want, sweetheart. So we went and saw it, and this show blew me away, okay? So it's Lady Gaga, you know what her voice is like. And she had a 20-piece jazz orchestra doing jazz standards, but you know, in her sort of sexy, irreverent way. And the show was amazing. And because I'm in the industry, some of the things that really caught my eyes were the technology. So before the show, look at this. They were doing digital signage. They were promoting upcoming shows with banners using a Christie, that looks like a 20K projector. I didn't get the model number, but they put it in portrait mode. Now it looks good. It looks like a show poster, but I'm a landscape guy. I'm 16 by 9. I'm not 9 by 16, but man, it's hard to argue with that. This is, the house lights are on, total ambient light situation, and I thought it was a really cool effect. There was enough dust, there was enough mist in the air to sort of see the beams of light out of that Christie projector. You see it's got that badass rental cage for rigging for other shows, but this was actually in a Dolby theater where Lady Gaga was performing, and I just wanted to show you guys that there's really cool projection AV technology going on, even in NAB, even at the National Association of Broadcasters. Bird Dog, we are so happy you're watching the show, and thank you for saying hello in the chat room, and you're welcome for featuring you on the show. Congratulations on your award. We love those little monitors. Send us some monitors. Those NDI camera top monitors, they look badass. All right. Next on the list, speaking of old school, can you believe they're still making, IDX is making 4-pin power supplies? I mean, like, have things changed since, I don't know, 1994, when every camera, every like giant shoulder-mounted camera that weighed 60 pounds and either didn't even record on Betacam, you had to tether it to a recorder somewhere else that operated off a 4-pin power supply. So I was just tickled pink to see some of the old technology at the new shows. My buddy Alex said, well, at least they're making them smaller now. So yes, indeed, they are making them smaller. And our friends at Panasonic, they're making all kinds of stuff. 25-inch monitors, even desktop switchers that operate on these 4-pin power supplies. So IDX, you're obviously serving an important purpose. I just thought it was funny to see some of that old stuff. You want to see some new stuff? Here's Sony's FX3, coveted 4K little mini camcorder. I know it's been announced, you know, gone are the days where people wait for NAB to announce their new products, but what's special about this is you could actually see the camera. It's not like you said, hey, I'd love to see that FX3, and I was like, well, I don't know, ETA is November of 2023 to actually put one in your hands. So we were excited to see the FX3 and its big brother, the FX9. Oh man, is that a sexy camera? That is the go-to camera in production right now. Here it is, you know, active, filmmaking, ENG, there's a servo zoom lens on there. This camera's so versatile and so coveted. The FX9, man, makes the FX6 look like an FX3, if you know what I mean. Something else that impressed me that is still around, our buddies at Tilta were promoting matte boxes and in-lens filtration. Man, you remember when every camera had to have a matte box so you could put a Pro Mist filter on it to, like, you know, soften up the image a little bit, especially when we transitioned from SD to HD, and all of a sudden you can see every pore on the face, so we had to put something on there. Or in film, that, you know, you didn't have glass filtration, you had to put a stocking on the lens, you know, it's nylon, and spread it out to soften up your talent. But I just thought it was so cool. It's been a long time since I've had to engage with matte boxes, but Tilta's still making them, so that was really cool. Tilta also makes an appearance in our next video. Here's another Best in Show winner from our friend Frank George and Data Video. Go ahead and transition me there. This is Data Video's robotic head. So you got a great camera, maybe you bought Canon's see in the dark, awesome, you know, box camera, or maybe one of Panasonic's or Marshall's box cameras with analog lenses, and you want to turn it into a robotic production. Well, here's a controller, right? Here's a robotic head, and you can put any lens you want on there. And I'm just going to pause it for a second because obviously this is a collaboration. There is Tilta's Nucleus lens controller. So they threw a geared ring around that lens, and you can control focus, iris, and zoom from the same data video controller. Let's back her up a little. Here is the data video controller. That's giving us pan and tilt control of the robotic head, but also you can control the Nucleus iris focus zoom, a FP-Z, focus iris zoom controller. I thought that was a very neat collaboration between our buddies at Tilta and Data Video, and I wasn't the only one. Somebody, Video Maker, chose this as NAB Best of Show also, so that's Data Video. All right, let's go full screen, because now, drum roll please, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. What has been the #1 trend of 2022's NAB, as presented at Midtown Video's Happy Hour Live? That really makes the 4K go down smooth. The answer is virtual production on LED sets. Let me show you what I mean. Just to warm you up, here's an example of old school virtual production. These guys built a cyclorama, painted it green. Maybe it's a wooden cyclorama and they just threw some green construction paper on there and they lit it up with not even LED lights. This is Kino, you know, replaceable bulbs. So your bulbs are gonna burn out. This is the old school way, but the new school way, boom. This is an example of the way that Absen does it. Notice you've got curved walls up top. That's a 1.5 millimeter, a 2.6 millimeter pitch backdrop on the wall, and then on the floor, it's a slightly bigger. That's actually a 4 millimeter pitch. I thought it was interesting that they chose different resolutions on the wall. You want to put me up there? On the wall, no, in the ME, please. Excellent. All right, I thought it was very cool that up on the wall, they had a higher resolution, smaller pitch, but on the floor, they had a, you know, why not just have the same resolution across the board? But I don't know, they have their reasons for it. Maybe you don't need as high resolution texture for the floor. But anyway, imagine being able not just to use a green screen to put your production in a virtual space, but actually having the actors be able to interact with it as well. So this is a version of Absen. This is a stage that they built. This is about 30 feet wide, okay, and about 10 feet tall, using Absen's, check this out, 2.6 millimeter pitch video wall that has built-in curvature. You can dial in a concave or a convex curve from -5 to 10 degrees. I thought that was really cool. So the curve that you see on the edges here is actually cranked from the frame here. Here's another example of some virtual production using LED walls. This is zero density. So sure, it's one thing just to display, right? Just to display the set on that green screen so the actors know what's going on. But to be able to interact with it, that's another thing. Zero density, when you've got camera tracking from 3D, or maybe you've got even more sophisticated tracking cameras, because of where the camera is, the background can actually change. So this isn't the best example, it's still showing green. And this is not just green paper, this is actually LED wall that's set to a green color. But check out Brainstorm's way of doing it, okay? So what we're looking at here on the right side is the actual virtual backdrop with some virtual graphics. Let me show it to you in a video. Oop. This is the video. Let's press play. Yeah, there you go. So those graphics are not really there. It just looks like they're there, but they're on the video wall. I think that is so cool. So when you see your guys in the studio, La Liga does this a lot, famously with WT Vision's special augmented reality hardware. Anyway, you've got a virtual backdrop, and then you've got virtual graphics. Virtual 3D graphics that the anchors can interact with. And so just to wrap it up, this is what virtual production on an LED wall can look like. These folks, this talent, Alex, I wonder, can you zoom into this picture? Anyway, the talent that are sitting down in front of this LED wall, they can actually see and interact with the virtual set in which they are being transposed. Much different than a green screen where they sort of have to just sort of guess, right? This is the next wave of production. If you've been working in green screen chroma key, if you're used to that already, and you want to get into virtual production using an LED wall versus your cycloramas on green screen, let us know. We'd be happy to help you make that leap. We can introduce you to studios that already have this in place so you can sort of get a feel for it. And then when you're ready, we can help you build your own studio. From the LED walls to the virtual augmented reality systems, Unreal Engines, etc., that will transport your custom graphics onto these LED walls. So #1 trend this year at 2022's NAB is virtual production on LED walls, leaving behind green screen cycloramas the way that LED lights have left behind changing your bulbs. So I thought that was really cool. Well, that's it. That does it. We covered Fujinon's FP-Z8000, the 4K resolution 8,000 lumens projector. We covered our NAB wrap from Midtown Video. We said hello to our friends Luis Miguel Grella from Tredes. We saw Frank George from Data Video, Eamon Drew from Bird Dog. Always great to see you, mate. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining us on Happy Hour. Great contributions to this show were made this week, this month by our friend Lorna Chin, Take-Two editor, who put together that nice Fujinon piece. Sam Galvez, who helped me shoot that Fujinon piece. Alex Garola, our #1 technical director, who runs the show all the time, flawlessly and spectacularly, even when I throw him curveballs. Lindsay Kogan's our streaming technician, believe it or not. She's a champion. I am your host, Jesse Miller. From all of your friends here at Midtown Video, thank you for joining us. This has been totally awesome.
Jesse Miller and Midtown Video presents the Jesse Miller Show. Yeah. Jesse Miller and Midtown Video presents